What's up, everyone? Welcome to 49ers Coast to Coast. I'm Grant Cohn. That's Derek Jeter. Taking some time away from the Miami Marlins. How you doing, Jason? Good to see you.
I'm good.
I really like a Yankee uniform. It's really clean with the pinstripes and the dark blue, and it looks great.
I appreciate that.
Jeter, right?
It is a Jeter jersey, but it is also part of the reason why I said on Twitter this is what's going to get me canceled because everybody hates Yankee fans and things like that. So I mean, you know what? Just lean into it. You know, like you only live long enough to see yourself become the villain anyway. You know, and that's what I think we're doing here today. So
when I was in high school, I would go to A's games all the time because they're down the hill from me. I wasn't an A's fan, but it was the thing to do as a high school kid in Oakland. And no matter who they were playing, seventh inning, there would be F the Yankees, except not F. Every time it was like, man, they're not even here. But I thought that was pretty cool.
Dude, I never understand that either. I mean, well, I do understand it because the Yankees are looked at as like the Cowboys and a bunch of front runners and stuff like that. You know, it's hard for me because my father's from the Bronx. That's the Yankees are like they're in the blood.
Well,
you can't really get away from that.
It's because the Yankees knocked out the A's like 3 years in a row in the wild card round when I was a kid, and the A's fans always were like butthurt because the Yankees payroll was like 11 times bigger than the A's. It's like, well, sorry.
I mean, I get that part too. It's just I can't choose.
Sorry.
I can't pick. You know, I'm sorry that I picked them. You know, I'm sorry that it's part of my blood. But hey, you know what? Enough with baseball. Let's get to it.
Okay, so there's the news coming out the last couple of days is that the Niners are open to trading Jimmy Garoppolo. They said he's their guy. They said they need to keep him. They want to have a competition. They don't want to throw the rookie. Blah 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 blah. He's available, but they're holding out for a first-round pick. Which I mean, people who've watched Jimmy Garoppolo play recently is like, do you buy this?
I don't buy it for a first rounder. I think I just buy what was said in the press conference about being blown away. And I think that's where that really comes from when you're talking about a first rounder. It's an interesting discussion because with Garoppolo, you know, I've been on board saying I thought that he was going to be the starter. You know, even if they draft somebody, they're just going to use him to win games because if he's upright, this team can win games with this roster. The problem is this, and here's the issue. His value right now is probably not as high as at its highest point right now. Here's the issue, though. If he goes out there and he starts playing really well this season, and then, you know, you look at him at the deadline, you might be able to fetch yourself that first rounder because a team might get desperate, right? They might say, hey, there's somebody here that can help us push us over the edge. Right. The flip side to that is if he gets injured again or if he struggles at all, now you get nothing.
Yeah.
And that's really what I'm talking about when it comes to that, because if that does happen, now you've blown an opportunity to get something for him. And I mean, realistically, who are the teams that could be in the market for Garoppolo? Washington, Chicago, New England. New England's not sending 15 for Garoppolo. So get that out of your mind. You know, get that completely out of your mind. The most you can get probably
further down. Yeah,
they're further down. I would think that if you're going to get anything for Garoppolo, it would probably be a second, maybe a conditional first that would be tied to snaps. And that's where, you know, so if you're asking me buy or sell, I'm buying that the 49ers are going to hold out for a first rounder. I'm buying that. I just don't think they'll get that.
That's exactly where I'm going with it. I'm right there with you. I'm buying that they're holding out for a first rounder. They really think they can get it. But then again, they really think they're the best team in the NFC. I mean, they think very highly of themselves. And I understand why it's tough to trade low on Jimmy, because I feel like 2-3 years ago, they could have got multiple firsts. Last year, coming off that Super Bowl appearance, I heard the rumor around the league was that the Patriots did offer a first, whatever they had last year, and the Niners turned them down. I don't know if that's the truth, but that's what I heard from someone in the league. And if they had those kind of offers or they felt he had that kind of value then, it'd be hard to sell low. I mean, they've always told themselves, you know, Jimmy's not great, but we can prop him up. We can win with him. We can make him look good. So if we just bring him back one more year and salvage something, we can get the first. But I'm with you. What's more likely to happen is that he's Jimmy still. He gets hurt again. And now when you could have traded him for whatever, a second or third, you get nothing. It's like having Bitcoin and it was worth like $1 million for a day. And now it's come down. It's like, no, dude, just sell that before it's worthless, man. I know it's painful, but it was always worthless. It was just a beanie baby.
It's a tough decision because, again, if you make this move, then all eyes go to the rookie. He's going to be starting whoever that is. And then the pressure comes in about, you know, the same thing that we just talked about. If he struggles, you're not going to get anything. And that would probably effectively end any sort of talk about Jimmy Garoppolo being an effective bridge starter, because Jimmy Garoppolo is a starter. He is in this league, and that's valuable. It is. Yeah. You know, no matter what you think, it's valuable because when he plays, clearly, as long as you insulate him with the talent around him, everybody needs talent. He can win games, and he has won games in this league.
Right.
So, I mean, and again, never underestimate what other coaches think about him as far as, let me get my hands on him. I'll fix him. Everybody always thinks they have the remedy for all those things. So, that's the interesting part. It's like, do you rip the Band-Aid off right now and get what you can because his value is as high as it is? Or do you try to play the waiting game and see what happens during the season, but you're kind of playing with fire?
Yeah, I mean, that's what Big Homie and them is saying right here. He's like, look, Garoppolo's value is a lot. Big Homie and them, all of them are saying Garoppolo's value is a lot higher than you guys think. He is the winningest available quarterback on the market for any team looking. We can get a first. Well, here's why the Niners haven't gotten that first yet, despite what you say. Whatever you say about how much you like Jimmy Garoppolo, he's too expensive. And if he were on the open market, no one would give him $27 million a year. So people might like him, but not at his price. Mm-hmm. So as long as he's under contract and there's questions about his durability, you're not going to get a first for him. He's going to have to go out and play like a dude who's worth $27 million next year. And that means 16 games. Do what he did in 2019 again, but better.
Yeah, I see a second. That's what I see. A conditional first would be something like that, just so you cover your bases. If he hits all those snaps, then you get a first.
That's what they should do. Instead of trying to get a pick this year, trade him in camp when it's clear that the rookie is beating him out, if that's the case. And then get a conditional pick for next year that's a 2 that can become a 1 if he hits certain benchmarks, plays 13 games, goes to the playoffs, that kind of thing. I mean, that's fair. Mm-hmm. They're not getting a first-round pick. It's going to be a conditional thing that can become 1, which would be fine. Settle for that.
Similar to Carson Wentz.
Exactly.
You want to make sure that you get, what you can for him. And if you send him off and he has a healthy season, then you win. So, I mean, I think it's a good way to look at it.
Okay. Let's get into the college quarterbacks, because even though we talk about it every day, it's a lot of fun. We didn't expect the Niners to trade up to 3, and we feel like we got to make up for lost time. So the first few days, the reaction was like, oh my God, what's happening? And now I think we've kind of settled in that most people feel that it's either going to come down to Justin Fields or Mac Jones. There are some other permutations that could happen, but these are the 2 most likely. So let's go with them. I know you like Justin Fields, and I like Justin Fields too. Just not as much as you. I like Mac Jones. You like him as much, you like him too, just not as much as me. So I figured let's have a little debate. You make the case for Justin Fields, why he's the pick at 3, and I'll respond with some follow-up questions, and then you can do the same for me and Mac Jones.
For sure. So with Justin Fields, obviously, guys, you see all the tools. The pro day really shouldn't have swung you either way. All that stuff is on film. It's on tape. The narrative of him being a runner is unbelievably wrong. He's a pocket passer. People have been telling me he's not accurate. That's not true. The most accurate at all 3 levels. Don't understand where that's coming from. People say that he can't read the field. Don't know where that's coming from. He absolutely does that as well, too. We've talked about the plays and the reads and everything else. I think really what's got me over here, and I don't want to take away from one of the topics that you have, but really what's got me over the moon with this kid is 2 things. Confidence. Walks in the room, seems like the man. That's important, especially if he, if there's a chance that he's going to be the guy at day 1. You got to be able to command that room. Second, toughness. I don't like after Kyle Shanahan has dealt with what he's dealt with with quarterbacks. Cracked rib against Clemson, comes right back in, destroys Trevor Lawrence, but hey, you don't want to. You guys don't want to hear about that.
No, that's a really good point, because Kyle has said his number 1 most important, got to have it trait is toughness. And it's what basically, you could argue, it's what's getting Jimmy run out of town. The fact that he hasn't displayed it. And Justin Fields has it.
Cracked rib, 6 touchdowns against the Golden Boy. But, I mean, y'all don't want to hear that.
That's a great point.
And then, the other thing is just everything else with the QB collective stuff, right? All that stuff that's there, whatever, that's fine.
Yes.
But
there's history. He knows Justin Fields.
Right. So when you listen to him talk to the media after, he talked about Kyle Shanahan and all that stuff and wanting to see another thing, the comments. I want to throw again because I want to show everybody that I can do this every single day the same way, because I'm built like that. Again, words, actions, confidence, all that stuff. When you line all that up together, and then you talk about this offense and the way that Kyle's going to get guys open, it's a slam dunk. I don't really see what's the issue. People are overthinking it at this point. People are pushing narratives for somebody else. People don't, the smoke screens are insane right now. There's so many respected people that I look to for information that now I really have to change the way that I'm looking at them just based on the way that they're talking about Mac Jones over Justin Fields. It's a little bit upsetting, honestly. It's really, really some.
Well, don't hold it against me because I rank Mac Jones ahead of Justin Fields. So don't hold.
That's fine.
But
no.
But I see what you're saying, man. It's like they're on the two different ends of the spectrum. You just line them up next to each other. It's like. Look at Mac Jones, man. Look at him. It's amazing. I see what you're saying. But can I ask you some questions now about Fields? Or I didn't mean to interrupt you. Did you have more? Did you want to make a case for him?
So one guy looks like an Adonis, can run. The other guy looks like he's 3 sandwiches away from.
I look better than Mac Jones. I have
a better body than Mac Jones as well too.
That's right.
Yeah. I mean, so it's. Look, I know that has nothing to do with it because
it has neither here nor there.
It's not. I'm just throwing some extra stuff on there. And also, one more thing, throw the dancing on there because it makes people so upset that he dances, and I love it. I love it. It makes people so mad. That's why I keep continuing to post the dancing stuff because it makes people so mad.
Also,
I love
the Niners have a void at dancer because they lost Kendrick Bourne, so that might be something that is actually a box that Justin Fields checks off. That
check another one.
Practice. They seem to like that stuff on the Niners. There's a lot of dancing at the Niners. I'm just saying.
The stuff that gets me upset and has been coming out is the work ethic thing. That completely is just slander out of nowhere. Okay. You're telling me that this man was at Ohio State, sat in front of all of those people, and made his case to be there, and they walked away thinking, this kid's not working? Come on, man. Like, I just don't understand. There's whispers. Get out of here. Just admit that you're just making stuff up to prop up whatever it is that you want to prop up. I'm not yelling at you, Grant. I'm talking about those people.
Dan Orlovsky, I didn't get the feeling that he lied. I get the feeling that he shared like a secondhand, third-hand telephone rumor that was explosive. And it's like, dude, who told you that? How true is it? Because it's very explosive what you just said. And you offended a lot of people, not just Justin Fields and his camp, but a lot of people that feel like they're like black quarterbacks don't get a fair shot. That kind of thing. It's like, Dan, you understand what you just did. Maybe you really heard that. But it's not rock solid enough for you to say it because look what you have to do the next day. You see what he's doing? It's like the day that Drew Brees had to like put a million things on Instagram and say that he's won with that. Remember that? After you know what I'm saying? It was Drew Brees for Dan Orlovsky. Sorry, Dan. You messed that one up, buddy. You got to be really careful when you talk about Justin Fields.
For sure.
You can say whatever you want about Kellen Mond, but Justin Fields, you better be careful, buddy. All I'm saying. Okay, so let me ask you some questions because I don't want to get in trouble like Dan Orlovsky did.
No, you're good. You're good, Grant. You're solid.
I have no questions about Justin Fields' athleticism. I think he's a freak athlete. That throw he made was crazy. He's got a great deep ball, and he's super fast, and he's tough, and all the things you said. He's confident. He's been in the spotlight his whole life. He's built for this. Only thing that I saw a lot of when he had his pro day, people being like, boom, that's all I needed. That's the confirmation I wanted. See, I have questions about him, and I don't think he can address them in a setting like that. The questions I have come from his live games. And I tweeted early this morning. I said, to me, what determines success in the NFL for quarterbacks is, do they know what to do under pressure? Do they know where to go with the ball? And can they get it there quickly? And I mean, I think it's hard to see it with a lot of these quarterbacks because they're not under pressure that much. But with Fields, I feel like there's a lot of statistics and game film that show you he doesn't always know, not always. He is inconsistent at best under pressure. He holds the ball longer against a blitz than when he doesn't face a blitz. And his quarterback rating against pressure is pretty low. So my question is, does that concern you?
So again, nobody's perfect. And if I had any concern, I think it really comes from the fact that Justin Fields is so athletically gifted that he continues to try to make plays and tries to try to extend the play. And that's something that he needs to be coached up on. Another thing is offensive line for Ohio State was awful. When I watch those games, he's always got like a defender in his face and things like that. One more thing I want to say. Nobody ever really brings this up, and it was brought up on ESPN, and it's a beautiful point. Nobody's competition was harder defense-wise than Justin Fields. Nobody.
Yeah, they had some really Indiana had a really good defense. Northwestern had a really good defense. That's what it's just Northwestern, but no, actually, they're really good defense.
Zach Wilson is facing 43 and 44th ranked defenses, and you guys are fawning all over him because he's throwing from clean pockets. Yeah. Meanwhile, Justin Fields, while he has his deficiencies, because everybody does, I can pick apart anybody, and point out what I don't like about them.
Of course.
But nobody ever wants to bring up the fact that, one, his line was awful, and two, he faced the hardest competition out of everybody. That's the context that you need around those things. Does he have to improve on that stuff? Yes. But it's because he's so athletically gifted that he continues to try to make plays. And you know what? I'm not going to knock him for that. He's only lost 2 games in the 2 years that he was there.
Yes. Yeah. So I guess with Fields, like I do think he's the kind of guy who could have success like Cam Newton did. I mean, I think there's a lot of similarities between him and Cam Newton. I don't see the Deshaun Watson comparison. That's lofty. But Cam was an MVP as well. My thing with Justin Fields is what happened to Cam? Once he got to about 25, 26, and he'd taken all those hits and he's been a tough guy, it just caught up with him. And he never, although he's still hanging with it. He may have a second career renaissance where he shows like the quarterback ability. But at a certain point, you got to like the quarterback skills have to catch up. And my question with Fields is, will they? Will they? Because I think he's green in a lot of areas. He may. On the Niners, he may. I guess it's just the mental side. Jimmy didn't improve on the Niners in the mental side. Maybe Justin Fields doesn't have a deficiency on the mental side at all. Maybe it's all Ohio State and the offense he's in, making him look bad. It's just, I guess it's hard to answer those questions. That's all I'm saying.
I'll say this about him and Cam. I see the similarities in build because I didn't realize how big Justin Fields is. But here's the thing that he has going for him over Cam. He's a better passer, and he's more accurate at every level than Cam is. Cam would hit 62%, whatever. That's like the high watermark. I feel like Justin Fields can blow past that, at least and consistently, right? Cam came in the league, wasn't accurate, and then continued to get less accurate. Justin Fields is the most accurate of all of these quarterbacks coming out with the deficiencies in the line as well. So that's why with the Cam thing, I'm not as worried. I'm not, and he's not going to run like Cam. He's not going to run like Cam. Cam was too physical as a runner, and they used him like that in Carolina. They basically just used him as a battering ram. I don't see the 49ers or anybody using Justin Fields like that.
Cam did complete 66% of his throws at Auburn. I know this because I was looking at him earlier. He won the national championship. He won the Heisman. Compared to anyone to Cam coming out of college is pretty high praise.
Lofty.
If he's better than Cam, all praise to him. I think Cam would have put up some crazy numbers at Ohio State. Because you say what you want, Ohio State does make your job a little, just like Alabama does, just like for Mac Jones. So anyway, you answered my questions about Justin Fields very well. I think he has a lot going for him. And if a coach could tell me, look, I see what you're saying about the mental side of his game. I can handle that. Give me 2 years. Look what Buffalo did with Josh Allen. I can do that with Justin Fields. I would be open-minded to that. I'd be definitely open-minded. So let's talk
Kyle Shanahan would get him in the right spots. That's it. So yeah.
Fair enough. So let's talk Mac Jones. The reason I think that Kyle Shanahan is going to be like a troll here and be the smartest guy in the room and do what everyone doesn't want him to do and take Mac Jones is because I really feel like people are tired of Jimmy Garoppolo for a lot of reasons. And a lot of people want a new type of quarterback on the Niners. The more evolved 2020 version of a quarterback, a guy who can really run, a guy who is like, Josh Allen or Justin Herbert or Patrick Mahomes. And I think that's what people want. But Kyle Shanahan, I don't think he wants to adjust his formula. I think he wants to keep together the same exact team that he had in 2019 because I think he really thinks it works. I think he wants to change as little about it as possible. And bringing in a guy like Trey Lance or Justin Fields, I think would require some adjustments on Kyle Shanahan's part. Not that they're big or that they're so outrageous, but some adjustments, a little more quarterback-driven runs, whatever. I just think he feels that he doesn't need to make a single adjustment. His team is ready. And when he looks at Mac Jones, I have a feeling, I could be wrong, that he sees what he hoped he would get from Jimmy Garoppolo when he got him. I mean, physically, he's like a young Jimmy without the torn ACL, maybe quicker feet, better feet, about the same build, about the same arm strength. But the difference is that, at least on film at Alabama, Mac Jones knows where to go with the ball. He's on time. He's in rhythm. He's not like dropping back and just hesitating the way Jimmy Garoppolo does on the 49ers. And I think when Kyle looks at Mac, correctly or not, he says, man, if Jimmy could just do this, we'd have won that Super Bowl. And so while Justin Fields may have so much more upside, Kyle's thinking, man, I don't care. That's exactly what I'm looking for. And even if it's no better than 13th best quarterback in the NFL at like Kirk Cousins is, with me on my team, we win the Super Bowl. That's how I look. I think he looks at Mac.
Okay.
Yes.
Can I respectfully disagree?
Yes, of course.
So here's the thing. When you listen to him talk, remember the Kirk Cousins question rubbed him the wrong way because he's
Mhm.
tired of being pigeonholed as the guy who wants somebody like Kirk Cousins or that Kirk
Mhm.
Cousins is his quarterback that he envisions, right?
Mhm.
I actually think that he is going to look at one of these higher profile guys because he's tired of having this stripped down playbook and he's tired of being on point and having to have the correct call every time. He wants someone to bail him out. That Patrick Mahomes quote was really big for me. I just don't think Mac Jones is that. You know, what the version of this Kyle Shanahan offense that you're seeing right now is bare bones at the minimum. And how do I know? There are certain concepts where basically to make things easier for every quarterback, pre-snap, you look straight, you cut the field in half, you pick your side. And when you pick that other side, that side is gone. So now you're taking away reads because you're making it easier and you're hoping that he can figure that stuff out. The Atlanta version of this offense is the offense that he really wants to be in, I believe. And I don't think you can have that with Mac Jones, considering, even if it was with Matt Ryan, who comps to Mac Jones. He does, absolutely. He comps to him because of pocket presence and all that stuff and the way that he moves in the pocket. But again, you know, Kyle Shanahan watched Kyler Murray, Josh Allen, all these toolsy guys kick his ass this year. Sorry, didn't mean to curse at that. And you telling me that he thinks that
if they can say it on cable, you can say it on this show.
All right, cool. Yeah. So if he thinks that, you know, if he thinks that getting a version of Jimmy Garoppolo is going to beat those guys or take them to the next level, I don't know. That's some flawed logic in my eyes, I think. You know, if that's what he's thinking. I see the point. I see how he fits. Again, if he's the pick, I'm not going to like it. But I also know that there will be success in this offense with it. It's not like you're drafting a bum. It's not like you're taking Jamie Newton. No, he's not a bum. I don't want to say that. You know, it's not like you're taking Ian Book, you know, at like 3. You know, Mac Jones can still play. I just feel like when I hear Coach talk, when I hear those comments and the way he was talking about it, I just think that it's time that he moved up to 3 to swing for the fences this time, not go for the suicide squeeze.
Maybe. I just still feel like Kyle's ideal quarterback is prime Drew Brees. You know, the guy who gets the ball out instantly, on time, and to the right guy. Is he an athlete? Not particularly. Does he have a strong arm? Not particularly. He just executes correctly every time and in rhythm. And I feel like Kyle really believes that that's all he needs. That's all he needs. And the other stuff is cool, but he's not willing to sacrifice the decisiveness, rhythm, smarts at all. And if he has any questions about that with a guy, he's going to look past him. That's the way I look at it. Now, I'm not saying that Mac Jones is Drew Brees, but it's just that when you watch him on film, he's on time and in rhythm, going to the right guy mostly. And I just feel like Kyle's the kind of film watcher guy who would look at the tiny little details and be like, well, look, I mean, if Jimmy could do that, we wouldn't be having this conversation. We wouldn't be picking a quarterback. You know what I mean? I can just hear him saying it. Maybe he's wrong, but with like, for example, you say he wants to have the Atlanta version of the offense. Okay, but they do have Brandon Ayuk, who's I think is going to be a monster down the field. But everyone else is really built to get yards after the catch. I think it's more of a yak offense than an air yards offense, if you to make a distinction. And I think Fields, kind of like young Cam, is going to thrive in an air yards offense. That dude is built to just bomb it, man. So a lot of short throws in the Niners offense.
Yeah, for sure. But you make good points though. But here's the thing. Again, it goes back to Justin Fields' accuracy. Again, so those short throws, instead of it being on somebody's hip where they have to reach back, they'll make the catch. If it's in stride, then that's the sort of stuff that we haven't seen since 2019 consistently with any regularity.
Yeah. All right. Let's answer a couple of these questions from the good people. Mm-hmm. Bruce says, do you guys think we need a mobile quarterback or a pocket quarterback? I personally say mobile, but I really think the Niners will draft Jones over Fields, and that's bad. Well, I mean, the way I look at you can answer it. The way I look at it is I think I tweeted yesterday. I think in the NFL, you can get kinds of quarterbacks, but when you're drafting, you're just trying to look for the guy who's not going to bust because, God, a lot of them bust.
Yeah. You know? I mean, with this, I mean, when I think mobile is being taken the wrong way. Like, I think when you say mobile, you're thinking about Lamar Jackson. No, mobile means like sliding in the pocket, maybe just moving yourself a little bit, because there's plenty of film on Justin Fields sliding his feet properly while keeping himself as a passer. Again, not talked about, but hey, you know, everybody's, you know, going with their narrative on Twitter, right? But he's known to do
as
that.
Opposed to Trey Lance, really. I mean, Trey Lance is more great. Like Fields, you can actually see him going through progressions. I don't even think they really structured offense for for Trey Lance very much like that at North Dakota. Sorry to cut you off.
No, you're good. Trey's in a run-first offense.
Exactly.
Plenty of throws that are schemed up. You know, it's completely different. Yeah. So I mean, when we say mobile, we're not talking about Lamar Jackson because I personally don't want my quarterback taking hits. I don't care how big you are. I really don't. So so I don't think that's that. I think it's more about the threat of him when you're running those RPOs and you got the ball in Mostert's gut and Debo's running the other way. Now those linebackers have to sit there for another second to worry about if Justin Fields pulls that thing out and now he can run the other way. So it's and remember, Justin Fields is a pocket passer. He wants to throw from the pocket. He's not trying to run all the time. He'll run if he has to, but that's not his game.
But I think the mobility, what you want is because it's specifically to aid you against pressure, right? Mm-hmm. Because the athletes on the D line are better and better every year, and the athletes on the O line kind of stay the same. It's, you know what I mean? And it seems like you're under siege a lot of times, especially early in the season. And if you can't help yourself at all, or you're not extremely quick decision maker like Tom Brady or Ben Roethlisberger, then you're Jimmy, and you're getting run out of the league, or you're getting hurt and stuff like that. So yeah, mobility is really important. That's why I go to a guy like Kellen Mond and like him. It's like, I think he's got upside. And that's why you like a guy like Trey Lance. It's like, I don't care they only threw 288 passes. I think he's got upside. He's got what he needs to have. And then you look at a guy like Kyle Trask, like, yeah, he's got the numbers, but is that going to translate when he's getting smacked by DNs who run 4.5 and he's over there running a 5.2? So that's why mobility is very important. Yes. Yep. Eric says, if the Jets were going to draft a quarterback, wouldn't they have traded Darnold for a draft pick at least? He is a free agent next year.
Not necessarily. That could happen on draft day. You know, there's teams, you know, so here's a funny team to think about that might take a shot on Sam Darnold. And it's something that, you know, I do a show on Saturdays with my good friend Jared Bailey. The Pittsburgh Steelers are somebody that might be looking at Sam Darnold. Ben Roethlisberger's done. This is it. Yep. This is the swan song. Now, I don't know if you want to bring in Sam Darnold just to bring him in because you remember, if you pick up his fifth, you know, you're on the hook for all that money. Still substantially less than what they're paying Ben Roethlisberger right now. But the problem is how do you pick up that option if he's a backup and he's never playing, right? So it doesn't look like the Steelers are going to be in position to take any one of the, you know, the higher quarterbacks because, you know, we've talked about it. There's probably going to be 5-6 quarterbacks in this first round that go, you know, especially now with, you know, Kellen Mond's getting buzzed. Davis Mills is getting buzzed now too. Like that's the sort of thing that's happening. So that's a sleeper team.
Pushed up always, yeah.
For sure. And quarterbacks are always overdrafted. Imagine in a time during COVID when you really can't even really fully scout the way that you're used to. People are just going off of what they're going off of at this point, whether that's film, whether that's a Zoom call. You really can't get your hands on these guys like you did before, you know, the world went to hell. So the Steelers are really, honestly, a team that everybody should be thinking about when it comes to that. So, I mean, if the Jets are smart, you wait around to draft day. On day 2, you move him or something like that if you get your guy, and you can load up on picks for next year or even get something for this year. So I don't think Sam fetches you a 1 anyway. I don't. So it doesn't really matter. But I think they move him on draft day, if anything. I wouldn't say that that's a telling sign that they won't take somebody at 2.
Raymond Martinez Jr. says Montana, Young, Elway, Favre, Rodgers, all mobile. And they have special abilities. What's Mac's special abilities? It's true. You know who wasn't mobile, though? Brady, Manning, Breeze. I mean, there are other ways to play the position. And the reason that people like Mac Jones is they feel that he has those rare traits that will allow him to win from the pocket. Now, he may not. Because honestly, how many quarterbacks drafted the last 10 years that didn't have mobility have made it in the league? Really? I mean, does Baker count?
Baker can move a little. Baker can move a little. Yeah, he can.
So, I mean, can Mac move a little? I mean, he can move a little. He can move better than Jimmy. I'll give him that. Well, really, he's not a big 4'8".
His special abilities is throwing with anticipation.
Yes.
Putting the ball placement, you know, understanding what he's seeing from the pocket. I'll give him all of those things. Again, I can say that I prefer one guy over the other and still, you know, heap praise on another guy. Doesn't mean I hate him. Right. You know, Mac Jones has a lot of things that I feel like worked in the old NFL. Like if this was a few years ago, maybe 10 years ago, there he is. Look at him. He's not running. He's not running out of the pocket when anything happens. Like that's the sort of guy. Like, if he was out a few years ago, people would love him. It's just that right now he's lumped in a draft class with all of these toolsy guys. It's true. And it kind of gets lost in the shuffle.
It makes it a very interesting case. And I do feel like the Shanahans are stuck in 1986. They're basically them and Uncle Rico are stuck in 84. Was it 84, 83? They just are. They just really are. So, I mean, I don't know. We'll see. But, I mean, even Andy Reid is more updated. And when I asked Andy Reid at the Super Bowl on media night, Like, what do you admire about Kyle Shanahan? He said, well, he's very creative in a very old school template, is what he said. It's like, even I don't use a fullback and go under center all the time. Like, it's very amazing how he's updated the old stuff, was basically what he said.
Yeah. And that's the thing that I love about Kyle's offense. Everybody thinks it's passing that I'm in love with. It's really the run game and the way that he gets things going. It's these angles that he creates with Kyle Juszczyk and how they run the outside zone. That's really what I get excited about.
And how those run plays look exactly like the play action plays. That's the Shanahan stuff. It's amazing.
And he'll run one play out of a formation, show you, put it on film. You'll think you got it, and then run something completely different out of it. And that's really where he gets you. That's the thing. And it's like a boxer setting up his knockout punch. Jab, jab, and then that's it. Boom, I hit you with it when I see the look that I like.
No question. And he'll take those haymakers like in the first quarter.
Yep.
He'll feel you out in the first drive, and then second drive, it's like, I'm getting.
And if he hits those, it's going to be like a snowball effect. Like he just goes, it's over for you.
That's what happened in 2019, pretty much. Kajan says you can't trade away what we did for this pick and then take the guy with the lowest ceiling. Jones still has a low floor too. That's a good point. Let me put another point out there. Another way to think of it. You can't trade up that high for a guy with a super low floor. You can't trade up that high for a guy who might bust. I mean, it's not your job, but think of it if it was your job and you traded 3 firsts for a guy who couldn't stay in the league. Say you traded 3 firsts for Dwayne Haskins. You don't get to be a GM ever again, ever. Something to think about. I'm not comparing anyone to Dwayne Haskins. Yeah. I'm just saying there are examples of highly rated quarterbacks who wash out by like 23. I mean, Josh Rosen's one.
Yeah, I mean, and there's no such thing as a sure thing, and I think that's what makes this discussion so fun. And this thing, and I can't wait to see 2 years down the line where I fall in this, what happened, and I'll pull my own receipts and I'll take a look. But that's what makes this interesting, really. And I just think that when
you're going to get pulled so hard, dude. Oh my god.
I know, Grant. I don't like
There's
doing
so
that.
Many of them. There's so many of them out there. People could do that every day if they had time. But keep going.
No, so it's really about, if you're sacrificing what you're sacrificing, I think at this point, it really is for the high upside guy and not the guy with the safest floor, I think.
Brady is a unicorn. He's not supposed to exist.
That's true. That's absolutely true.
But again, I do think Kyle Shanahan would love Drew Brees. I mean, look how much mileage Sean Payton got out of Drew Brees, who is not the most physically gifted quarterback of all time. I mean, he can't really throw the ball more than 30 yards down the field. Hall of Famer, though. Bruce says, Jason, why don't you like Jones? What's your intake? Jones or Fields?
No, I mean, I don't not like
said Jones. He does like Jones.
Yeah, I don't not like him. I came around to him. And it took me a while because, the Senior Bowl left a bad taste in my mouth. And, and then I said, okay, Jason, no more bias. Watch the damn film and write down everything and try to figure it out. And I came around to him once I was able to finally get his film and watch him in games.
But you should not ignore the initial impression you got from him at the Senior Bowl because that's real. You saw him in person. In fact, that might even be more valid than whatever you think you see on film. Because the film can kind of
it can lie a little.
It's big. Yeah.
My thing is this. I think I have more of a bad taste in my mouth because of what I saw in the Senior Bowl, and I saw people saying that he impressed. And I impressed where? Impressed who? When? That's the part that I was like.
It felt like a media conspiracy. Like someone was told
that's what
to
I
say
mean.
He's good. They
showed that one throw over and over, and I'm like, cool. Yeah. Now show the 4 fumbles that he had right after that play. Yeah. Now show the missed throws that he had. Like what? Like so that's when I started.
Like all I know is the black quarterback was the MVP. The black quarterback was the one who wanted to compete.
Kellen Mond played better than Kellen Mond.
He wanted to compete. He wanted to compete. Mac Jones was like, my ankle hurts. I can't play today. Like, all right, man, cool.
In Bama.
Well, Kellen Mond's going to go take your spot then. I don't know, man. As much as I just made the case for Mac Jones, I 100% prefer Kellen Mond. I mean, I'm sorry. For all the reasons that you prefer Justin Fields. Upside, mobility. I mean, anyway. Matt Rhino says, why not offer a reunion for Meyer of Bosa and 3 for number 1? Bosa is a 1-year wonder in my opinion and his health history. Look, this is an interesting topic. Is Niners make one more deal to get up to number 1? And what do you think?
So this is an interesting discussion, and you've talked about this, okay? So Nick Bosa's injury history is something that might be a concern. Like, what if Nick Bosa comes back and he's a guy who plays on certain snaps because he was an every down guy in 2019? There is that concern. I don't believe that that's what's going to happen, but there is that concern. If that is what can get you to Trevor Lawrence, I don't know, man. I'm not going to answer this one. This one's a little too close for me. I don't know how, it's a little bit tough. Get.
Let me look at it the other way. I don't
Yeah.
think the Jaguars say yes.
Nah,
I don't.
I wouldn't.
If you got Trevor Lawrence, I mean, even Bosa number 3, like it's great, but we got Trevor Lawrence, and we don't have to worry about quarterback for the next 15 years, probably. So, I don't think it would be enough to get it done. If it is, I'd be interested because I do think I think people are almost overthinking Trevor Lawrence a little bit.
Everybody's getting overthought right now. Everyone's bored. Everyone's overthinking everything at this point. That's why it's best to disconnect right now from all of it. I'm tired of it. I don't want to see anymore.
Yeah. Whenever the Niners make a pick, too, I always feel like, man, you haven't been listening to any of my shows the last 3 months. Like, this is stuff we talked about in January. Like, you're still okay. Well, all right, fair enough.
No, that's my thing too. It's just man, it happens every year. And right now, this is because the 49ers are at 3. This is going to make this the longest month in history. I swear.
Yeah. I'm really trying my best not to miss any of you guys' stuff. Sean says, why couldn't Mac find the weight room at Bama? I don't know, but how come? Oh, real quick. It's not like Tyrann Mathieu was tearing it up in the weight room at LSU. He ended up being a good player. I mean, the body type isn't the most important thing. I mean, look at the best quarterback in the league still is a 43-year-old dude who can't run. So it's not that simple. But yeah, he does look like CJ Beathard. So I'm just saying, it's not a good thing. He looks like CJ Beathard to me. It's scary. But maybe
it's just when he pulled his belly out at the pro day, I was just like, oh, come on, man, look at that thing. Like, get it out of here. Like, exactly. I'm like, put your shirt down, bro.
Can you imagine the design runs with Fields off that Debo sweep? Can't wait.
I can.
Yeah, it'd be crazy.
I absolutely
can. It would be really super crazy, and it may happen. The toughness factor with Fields is one of the main reasons Kyle would like him because he could nitpick the throwing motion or the decision making, but he could also say, man, if you give me a year to work with him on the bench, maybe we can fix that. And he's got the one trait that I like the most, which is toughness. Plus, he has all these other things that are great. Travis Howard says Jimmy can't beat cover 1. Justin always beats cover 1.
It's a good call. I mean, it is. It's a lot of it's on there on film. It's a good call, but again,
good point.
It's just going through the progressions. He does it. It's just again, I'm just tired of it's so many people that I respect too that are just saying a bunch. Like I had to say this morning, I woke up and I'm like, oh, everybody's on April Fool's stuff at this point. Like everybody's just and some of these people are serious. They're dead looking you in the camera and telling you the wrong thing.
Well, did you hear Chris Sims answer Vicious' question?
No way. What?
Yeah,
he did on the old pod.
Yeah, on the pod about Justin Fields.
Mm-hmm.
It was just interesting. I mean, it was Vicious' question. I don't know how faithful he answered it, but he basically went on and on and on about his critiques of Justin Fields. And I gotta say, Chris Sims is a very smart, perceptive person, and I take him seriously. I don't agree with everything he says, but it was interesting to hear him lay it out there. And I gotta say, I basically agree with him. But have you heard it? Have you heard it?
No,
yeah.
I think Vish told me. I just didn't hear all of it. I've heard his critiques, and it's just like some of those things I'm like, okay, But and again, Chris Sims has skin in the game because he does want to be a GM, so he's definitely not pushing a narrative for anybody.
No, he's trying to be right, and he's saying like, are these things fixable? Maybe not. Hard to say. Tobin says, wouldn't it make more sense to question the work ethic of the guy who is a pizza away from being overweight? Fields' narrative is puzzling to me. Yes. Can
I talk about something else too?
I'm not saying anything about Fields. I don't know, dude. Yeah, say something.
So all of these things about now work ethic kind of speaks to character. Why are we not talking about Mac Jones' DUI? Why is that not a concern? I love the concerns that are placed on everyone else. I love the concerns that go, Trey Lance only has 1 season. So does Zach. Character concerns for Justin Fields, DUI for Mac. Can you guys please keep it a buck across with all of these people and not just the person that you're trying to push? Please stop it. It's annoying. It really is. If you have concerns about this player, then that same concern should be for that player if he has the same exact thing of only 1 year of body of work. That's
What's funny is that like the media reports it as like, well, it's not our concerns. We're just don't shoot the messenger. Don't shoot the messenger. We've just heard certain teams feel this way about Justin. It's like, well, we can't verify it. And it's probably true that certain teams feel that way. But who's to say they're right? And who's to say that this league that, ran Colin Kaepernick out of it wouldn't just be a little harsher on someone like Fields than Jones? That's probably realistic. right? Like, honestly, I'm just guessing
Yeah.
if Justin Fields had a DUI in his background, even if he was 19, it'd
Oh,
be like,
if Justin Fields had a DUI,
NFL teams would talk about it.
3rd round grade. Never touch him in the 1st round. Never touch him.
You know who had a DUI on his record and fell to the 4th round?
Dak Prescott.
Dak Prescott.
Yeah.
So
this and this front office didn't. Chip Kelly was the one saying, "Can you get me Dak?" And they were so concerned.
Can't
and
sell
this
it.
is Rich's point. Yeah, you can't sell it to the fan base because you already had a bunch of arrests and DUIs with everyone else.
Now, here's the thing: Kyle Shanahan has much more power in the organization than Chip, and I feel like Chip, like Jed, almost has like a man crush on him. You know what I mean? Like I made this analogy yesterday, but it's like, your buddy in college who like started dating a girl way out of his league and just like gave up all the things that he thought meant to him, like all the things he liked and thought. It's like, yeah, man, whatever she says, I'm just happy to be here, man. Like, I just have Kyle Shanahan, whatever he wants. It's like Parag was ready to say, like, nah, Trent, this is our final offer. And Trent was like, all right, well, I'm calling Kyle. Kyle made that thing happen so fast. So all I'm saying is, if Kyle says, look, Jed, I need Mac. You don't know. Give me what I want, or else our relationship's never gonna be the same. Jed's gonna be like, whatever you say, Kyle, just, I'm really enjoying this relationship. I don't leave. I'm really enjoying this relationship. Rob says, in 2020, Jones put up the best stats of any NCAA quarterback in recent years. Better than Russell, Mayfield, Murray, you name it. Why doesn't that factor in? It does.
Because the context.
It does.
The context, though. But the context.
It does. Okay? Yeah. Yes. You have to put in the context. He's on the best team in college football. The best team. Right? Oh, no. I talked through you, and then he froze. He's going to come back, though. Oh, no, you're back. McDonald's. Oh, he's back.
Yeah. All right. So here's the thing. Context is important. Okay. Have you ever seen 2 receiver classes have Jerry Jeudy, Henry Rugg, Devontae Smith, Jacob Waddle, and now pro style offense didn't face the level of competition that all these other people had? Stats are meaningless when it comes to this. I don't care about all that. Tim Tebow was tearing up college. None of that matters. I'm not comparing that to that. It's just, if you're going to say that stats are the reason that Mac Jones should be ahead of somebody, that's a hard disagree.
Yeah, you don't want to scout based on stats. Tua had great stats. Haskins had great stats.
Tua had great stats in that same offense. Yeah. There's your point as well, too. There's your point as well, too.
But the reason people like Mac Jones is when you turn on the tape and compare, especially from 2019, you can watch the same team, the same offense with Tua and Mac Jones. Mac Jones just has the anticipation. They're both accurate, but Mac just throws it earlier. They both are built like backups. Yeah. Which is scary. I bet you Jimmy Garoppolo's rooting for them to take Mac Jones. Sal says, watch them get Pitts at 3 and Mond or Trask in round 2. Pitts is the talk of the town right now. Won't happen, but I've seen that scenario online. Yeah, you probably saw it from your boy, and that's that's our next topic. So let's do it right now. The possibility of Pitts at 3. I even think there's a possibility of Pitts at 2. I think it's a possibility. So what do you think? Could the Niners even justify moving up that much for Pitts?
I would burn everything to the ground. Come on. Okay. It can't be that. There's no, I understand. Look, Kyle Pitts is probably the best tight end prospect ever.
Yes.
Coming out of college. That's no hyperbole, right? There's a
lot of people. That's not hyperbole. No.
There's a lot of people that believe that.
Yep. Because the highest tight end ever drafted is Vernon Davis, I believe.
Yes.
This guy is a way better player than Vernon Davis.
Yes. Oh. You can't justify that. You can't justify those 3 picks just to get that. For what?
Okay.
Who's the quarterback now? What did you like? You were in prime position to get one of these guys, and you chose Kyle Pitts. I would be so upset.
Okay, let me make the argument for it, because I wrote an article yesterday, and I think I believe it. No, you want to trade up for a quarterback. Of course, you want to trade up for a quarterback. You also want to trade up for a sure thing. If you're trading 3 first-round picks and moving up, I think you're doing it because you feel so strongly that the guy is going to be a Hall of Famer. There's no doubt in your freaking mind. And I don't care how much you like Zach Wilson, Justin Fields, Mac Jones, or Trey Lance, you got to have some doubt. They all have questions. They all lack experience. None of them have the 3 years that Trevor Lawrence had. They're just not. And Kyle Pitts, to me, is the only other prospect who approaches the safeness of Trevor Lawrence. So that's why I would consider it, because to me, take your need for a quarterback out of it, because the Raiders had a need for a quarterback when they took Jamarcus Russell. That can lead you to some bad decisions. If there's one player in this draft who is like a no doubt about it Hall of Fame, that guy reminds me of Calvin Johnson. I think passing on him for a quarterback who doesn't end up being great, you're going to regret that for a long time. Now, you might get a great quarterback, but you might not.
See, and again, I'm a big process over results guy. So again, can Justin Fields bust? Can Zach Wilson bust? Sure. It's definitely in the range of outcomes. But your process is correct right now. And if you do it the right way and you draft them, and it doesn't work out, fine. But at least you're showing me, again, you changed your thought process. You know what's at hand. You're looking at this class and you're doing it the right way. So I'm good with
Can I ask you a really snarky follow-up? And it's
go for it.
I love you. Mm-hmm. Did the Raiders have the right process when they drafted Jamarcus Russell over Calvin Johnson?
They didn't. That's a different story. That's a whole different story. So
they didn't trade up. They didn't trade up.
They didn't trade up. And the Raiders' history of drafting poorly, it was at that time. It was like the peak right there. So I forget who were the evaluators then when they did that.
Oh man, Al Davis.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. That's what I mean. So that in that way, it was just. It just feels.
No, like, that being said, he was the consensus top quarterback that year. If you go back and look, it was like him, Brady Quinn, Kevin Cobb, some bombs. It was just a year that you didn't need to take a quarterback. Mm-hmm. So I guess what I'm saying with Pitts is I feel like who are the pass catchers over the last 10, 15 years that people have made big trade ups for? Julio.
That's it, Julio.
He deserves it. He's in that class. He's in that class, I would say. Pitts, Julio, these are guys that are definitely worth the trade up. Is Mac Jones worth the trade up? No. And I like Mac Jones. No.
You do.
Is Trey Lance worth the trade up? Not in my opinion. Is Justin Fields worth the trade up? Not in my opinion. Is Zach Wilson worth the trade up? Not in my opinion. But I'm very conservative with quarterbacks. Pitts, I just think the guy, unless plays a physical position, he could get hurt, and then you're really, really upset that you gave up the picks. Otherwise, I can't.
If you draft Kyle Pitts and you leave him in the block, that's egregious. I don't understand why you would use him that way. Again, wherever he goes, if you leave him in the block and you try to get him hurt doing that, that's pretty stupid. Because
when people say he's not even a tight end, he's a wide receiver. Good, good. Well, I'll take a wide receiver number 2. Yeah, just play Kittle at tight end. Move this guy around, and it's just he would be good. But
it would be amazing in Madden. I would just be furious because I really think I know what's going on with these quarterbacks right now.
I know. You have to really feel strongly about some quarterback you could get in round 2, and from the sounds of it this year, there could be 8 quarterbacks who go in round 1. So maybe you just can't. Be interesting to see how his career goes. So I'm pretty certain he's going to be the freaking man.
Yeah, no, he's going to be great. That's a canvas. That's a canvas.
Yeah, and I've watched so much of him because I'm a big Kyle Trask guy, and I gotta say, Kyle Pitts is just a little bit better than Kyle. Why no one talking about Mac Jones? We just talked about Mac Jones. Can we give him a break? We brought it up. The dude was 19. It's definitely a factor, but I think the main point
Baker got arrested. Baker's on video getting arrested. Didn't stop them from drafting him.
Enough. We know. You know what? Yeah. Dak Prescott. It shouldn't have been as big of a fact. These are young men. It's enough with this. I mean, if he's 27, that's a different thing. Mike says, is it me or does Lance have a weird pocket setup? He kind of stands up straight and then he kind of dips low. That's probably fixable.
Yeah, I don't really have concerns when it comes to that. More than anything, I've been on here talking about Trey, and you know how I feel about him. It's more that I just want Trey to sit for a year if I had my way with him.
Trey is amazingly young. He's just hasn't had much opportunity to really play quarterback. His story is very interesting. I didn't know how many people tried to shut him out and how many people he had to prove wrong. He's the kind of guy with the chip on his shoulder that you do want to bet on because he clearly has self-belief and work ethic. It's just the 288 throws. There's never been a quarterback who succeeded with that. So, of course, there's always exceptions to the rule, and I hope he's one of them. Cam almost did it, but he had that year in JUCO. It's too bad that Trey's season got shut down. Really sucks.
Yeah. And that's why what happens is
what I mentioned earlier, like the Rosen thing, man. Like you get a chance to start. If you have a bad season, coach gets fired. All of a sudden, your advocate in the building's gone. They might draft another quarterback, and all of a sudden, where are you at? And I hope that doesn't happen to him because it seems like if he has a little time to catch up on the bench, he could be a baller.
Yeah.
What, in your opinion, is the most overrated? Let me try again. What, in your opinion, is the most underrated / overlooked attribute for quarterbacks coming out of college? In your expert scouting opinion.
Yeah, my experts. In my amateur, 1 year of doing this. No, I think it's
we have the coaches film, so we know. Okay.
Well, I did. Watch the film, bro. But toughness and integrity. Those are the hardest. The integrity part is the part that is the hardest to actually
What do you mean by
scout.
integrity?
So what I mean by that is, okay, so let's say we're on a job interview. Grant Cohn says he wants me to interview for a job.
Mm-hmm.
You don't go into that interview saying all the wrong things, right? You go in, yeah, I'm a hard worker, boss. I'll be there. I'll be in and out, and yeah, for some months that's true. Time will reveal, though.
Yeah,
man,
you misrepresent yourself? Yeah,
right. I'm slacking off. I'm not. Nobody goes. If you really have to be really stupid to get into the interview process and say, yeah, man, I'm kind of just here to get paid and, whatever. No, everybody's going to represent themselves the way that they should. Yeah. Now, can you tell who's lying? Can you tell who's actually like that? That's the hardest part for me to scout, because it's the same thing with an interview. Like, I've been in positions where I've had to interview people. Again, you have to be really dumb to walk in there and say, here's my negatives and boom, boom, boom. It's no, look, I'm a hard worker. I'll be here. First one in, last one out.
Yeah.
Cool for a little while. But is that really what you're going to be doing? That's the part I think is the hardest to scout, the integrity portion.
The integrity. Okay. That's a great answer. And the toughness is interesting too, because that's Kyle's thing. And you could argue that the reason the Rams had to get rid of Goff, the reason the Niners are getting rid of Jimmy, toughness. Two of the softer quarterbacks in the league. I mean, Jimmy and Jared Goff can put on a hell of a pro day. They look great, though. I mean, Jimmy back in the day when they were coming out of college, they could throw, but you put some bodies around them and they fold. At least Jimmy now, post ACL Jimmy. So to me, that's a good answer. What I'm saying is, I've been harping on it a lot. Experience, reps. Like today, I went through it. I was prepared. It's in the other room. I just went through all the starting quarterbacks in the league and see how many throws did they have in college. Bill Parcells was big at like just big picture, step back and like just look at experience, like benchmarks like that. And he would do games started, games won, which is legit. There's something to that. But I think a more accurate way of looking at experience is throws, because not everyone throws the same amount of passes per game. I mean, 17 games from one quarterback is different than 17 games for another. So I just looked at what kind of experience do these starters have? Most of them have at least 900 throws in college. There's a lot of exceptions. Tom Brady had 620. Tom Brady had 620. Kyler Murray had 519. But all these guys in this class, with the exception of Lawrence, Trevor,
and Fields,
Fields is about 600 throws, are really low. And so it's not a deal breaker. I mean, there's Josh Allen had 600. Ryan Tannehill had 700. Brady. I do think it indicates that there's going to be a learning curve, that they're not quite ready. Brady sat on the bench for a year. Josh Allen took 3 years to blossom. I think the reps, there's so much pressure to be good right away. There's not a lot of patience. Sam Darnold didn't have the reps. Jameis Winston didn't have the reps. Tua didn't have the reps. And I wonder, you can overcome that if you're super duper duper good. If you're Kyler Murray, if you're Cam Newton, are these guys super duper duper good? That's my question, I guess, because they're going to have to overcome that. Yeah.
It's a good point. Experiences, and that's why, all the deficiencies that I see in Trevor Lawrence's game are there, but he gets a pass because he's been there for 3 years.
Right. So, but also you wonder if you see deficiencies after 3 years, why are they still, what's the deal, man? Yeah. And the thing with Trevor Lawrence that's interesting is he's a tall dude. He doesn't have super long arms, though. The quarterback, usually having long arms as a quarterback is death. Although Mahomes pulls it off. Allen pulls it off. The dude with the long arms is Mond. That's why I think he looks the way he does. He's just got these super long praying mantis arms, and he's trying to keep it all together and keep it tight. And he looks.
I know that's why he looks so stiff on that throw. It was an amazing throw. Yeah.
It's like, dude, just relax. Yeah, loosen up. I bet you he will in the pros, because if he doesn't, I don't know. I mean, he did. I mean, Aaron Rodgers did. All right. Last question. All right. So since the Niners say they're keeping Jimmy Garoppolo, at least through training camp, let's say they're telling the truth. Which quarterback do you think has the best chance to beat him out?
This is a hard question, because we've run through this scenario where, again, we just talked about Jimmy Garoppolo's trade value, and we talked about if he gets beat out by a rookie, you cannot trade Jimmy Garoppolo for anything. No. So this is a straight up doom and gloom scenario. Straight up. Justin
Fields could probably
Yeah,
Yep.
Justin Fields can beat him out. Zach Wilson can beat him out. I don't know if Trey can right off the bat because, like I said, Trey is. I want him to at least sit for a year.
Agree.
Mac,
I don't know if Mac can either. He might.
You don't think so?
Mac.
He could.
The thing about Mac scares me because, again, 555 throws in college. 555, man. I mean, he does anticipate well. He had a very good feel for the Alabama offense. He's green. He might take some time. You know, it's not easy, all those words that the Niners give you as a quarterback. It's like reciting poetry. It's really tough. I think Mac could struggle too. Jimmy might beat out Mac. I don't know. I'm not sure that any of these dudes could beat him out, man.
That's the closest one. I think Fields can beat him out. I really do. I mean, that's just me. You know, right now I'm like completely biased right now. You know, and whatever, call it what it is.
I would love to see that quarterback competition. It'd be great.
Oh my goodness, man! I got to keep saying all the right things so I can get to camp too, because I have to be able to stand there and just watch this because I want to see with my own
Jimmy,
eyes.
He doesn't execute that great, man. He's the kind of guy who will throw 5 picks in a day. No,
he's not a practice player. No, he's a gamer.
Isn't. He's a gamer, and even in games, he's not so much of a gamer anymore. So he's right to get beaten. The thing is, I want to go back to my previous point, the lack of experience. Jimmy, even though he lacks experience for a 29-year-old, he's got a leg up on these kids. So, he should know the offense a little bit better. He's been taking copious notes, Jason. Have you seen his notebook? He's filled that sucker up.
I thought he was drawing. I miss you, Bill, on there or something like that. Like the joke that EBC threw out there was like one of the better ones. I thought it was great.
Anyway, they're not going to draft a quarterback based on this criteria. I just think it's interesting. Like, if you are going to take a quarterback and make him compete, which one's going to win? I'm not sure Mac Jones would win. I don't think Trey Lance would win. Fields could, although he does. Maybe the whole under center. I think it's going to be hard for any rookie, even Trevor Lawrence, to learn all those words. It seems like a lot. Some guys are good at it, like Nick Mullins. He has total recall on that stuff. Kyle clearly does. I mean, I'm sure Kyle can recite all that stuff in his sleep, but I don't know that Jimmy can. Maybe Juszczyk can. It's hard. Well, have you seen how long those plays are?
Yeah, I know.
That's a lot of words.
I have the install. So the names, like they start with personnel, then they start with that. You know, it's a lot. It is a lot. I opened up.
Yeah.
I was lucky enough to get my hands on the 49ers install, so I got to look at all that stuff and everything. Like, there's a glossary in the beginning of the install that allows.
There's a glossary in the playbook, dude. That's all you need to know, man.
Yeah.
That's intimidating.
Yeah.
That's intimidating.
Yeah. I mean,
it's not just memorizing it; it's like internalizing it.
Right, and that's the thing is you have to immediately in there know. Yeah. You know, 22
minutes left, fourth quarter on the road. I heard it. Oh, got it. And now I'm not even thinking about it. I'm just thinking about the defense. Yeah, good luck with that. Year one, you know, that's tough. And it's tough for the wide receivers too, right?
The wide receivers, so Debo had a little bit of trouble with it in the beginning, you know, and then he caught on. Brandon Ayuk caught on immediately though.
Brandon Ayuk's also hella smart. They always have smart players on the team. Give us Fields, please. Well, since you donated $5, we will make that happen. I will make sure that happens. I love that I get donations like this. Make Fields, please. It's not even a question, man. Appreciate you throwing $5 my way.
Go do the QC thing and talk to Kyle, Grant. Goodness gracious,
I'll do my best
man.
for him. Would having Rosen rookie, first rounder, and Jimmy G captain crippled? Give the Niners one of the deepest QB rooms in the NFL.
Oh my goodness!
It's gonna be deep
until
they're injured. Yeah, they would be pretty deep. Geez, you guys are really, really generous. Trey says, "I see Fields as a better version of Russell Wilson. Russell's stats in college were average at best. Why is there no comparison there?"
It's a good point. Because you do see a lot of those things.
I have a new writer on my site named Sunil who pointed out. I mean, both played. There was never a quarterback that came from Wisconsin before Russell Wilson.
And confidence. Russell Wilson seems like as much as I think that his whole facade is a little bit fake. You know, nobody's that happy. Nobody's like that. You know, but I really do think that, you know,
the self-belief is real.
Yes,
the self-belief is real. His positive 100%. Outlook is real. He wills those comebacks because he just I respect that from him.
Yeah, for sure.
The one difference between them coming out, reps.
Yep.
Dude, Russell Wilson played a ton in college.
He did.
Started 3 years at, what was it? NC State. Yep. There was one more, I think, and then I wanted to tell you something. Do you see any chance we draft Travis Etienne in second, the younger and more explosive version of Tugboat McKinnon? Oh, a non-quarterback question.
You watch your mouth when you're talking about Jet McKinnon, all right? You leave him alone, okay? I need him back just for the jokes, for the Wildcat jokes.
We've been calling him Tugboat McKinnon for a while because he called himself Jet.
Or
I'm sorry.
Jet Plane. Yeah, what is it? Or it's like, baby, that's messed up.
Yeah,
But
sorry.
You know what? This is actually kind of valid. It really is. And as much as I don't agree with it, I kind of get the feeling that there might be, if it's not him, Javonte Williams.
Yep.
Or Michael Carter. If I can get Michael Carter, if I could speak that into existence, I would. I honestly think that they do draft a running back this year as well, too.
Kyle has consistently shown he likes making big investments into the running back position. He spent big on McKinnon. He drafted, I want to say Coleman in round 3. He drafted Williams in round 4. Coleman was in Atlanta. Williams was in round 4. A sizable investment in Coleman after the fact. So, yeah, there's no big investment at running back right now, and the team is coming. It's second round, probably, maybe third. Third.
I think they do.
Yeah, I agree. There was one more. Hold on. You guys keep throwing them in there. Ryan says, let's remember, Stafford went for Goff, 2 firsts, a third with no playoff wins, so a young Matt Ryan, Mac Jones wouldn't be intriguing at least?
Not at 3. Not at 3. Anywhere else. 8, 9, cool. Not at 3. No.
Look, I think I would take him at 3, but trading up to 3 to get him is
that looks bad. If you were at 3 because you won 4 games, that's something different. You moving up and then going to get Mac Jones for that's what's troubling.
It is.
That's what I can't get my head around that.
Yeah, and again, I can't get my head around really any of the quarterbacks, and it's why it's just like, man, it's like we agreed on your roundtable. It's like, man, this is Plan C. Something feels off about this. This is not what they wanted to do. They wanted Deshaun Watson. And now they got to tell themselves that whoever they get at 3 is going to be great. Oh, man. I mean, it's definitely a Plan C move. Hope it works out for him, I guess.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yep. Me too.
Yeah. What did I want to say? Oh, so we get all these donations. I was in Tahoe with my friends from high school this weekend, and they were out at the beach for the day, and I was doing my live thing with Vish because, got to do it. And so they were watching. They'd never seen me before. So I get home, and they're like, that was really cool. One question. Explain that tip thing. I was like, yeah, I don't know, man. People just, I don't know. And they're like, what do they expect? I was like, yeah, dude, explain that tip.
So thanks. Man. Look, so thanks to you.
Yeah,
I'm actually on the other side now. Over 1.3 on YouTube right now. And yes, I get the same things too now. I get those same sort of tips, and I get blown away by them as well too. I mean, if you want me to answer a question, it's not just because you put the money in, but it really shows an appreciation for what you're doing, and I think that it's new to me. And I still don't get why people, care about what I have to say, or it's still new to me. I just don't get it.
It's mind-blowing. So I try my best to give him something. Michael says, just want to bring up almost every mock prior to our trade up had Lance or Mac going to ATL, moving right in front of ATL. Does that say anything?
Yeah, it does. It says that we believe that they may take Zach Wilson, so we get our choice between Zach Wilson and Justin Fields. And you want it, and it was always 3 for me. It always had to be 3 because of Atlanta F4. It was always that. Atlanta's running a Shanahan offense. That's what scares me. They get Lance. They can run that. They can do the same thing with Fields. All those things that I said about those guys, it applies because Arthur Smith runs a variation of the Shanahan offense.
If Fields drops, I could see him being a good fit for Carolina because that's a spread offense.
Don't let Matt Rule get his hands on Justin Fields.
It's a spread offense. Joe Brady it's a lot of 5 wide stuff going on over there. I mean, he's comfortable in that. He wouldn't have to, be under center half the time. Carolina would be a good spot for him.
He would, and that just made me sad, really sad.
Because him and Christian McCaffrey in the same backfield, that would be
DJ Moore and Robbie Anderson. Oh my goodness, man, you wouldn't be able to cover them.
Yeah, Jason, we went overtime today. Thank you for giving me all your time. I appreciate it. I was falling asleep during your roundtable. I was enjoying myself. It's just that I got up at 4 that morning. I was so tired, dude. I was like,
dude.
And then I realized Rich was taking pictures of me. I gotta stay alive. I gotta stay awake,
dude. So I'll tell you this. That was really, really a lot of fun. I think that for future roundtables, what we're gonna do is we're gonna narrow it down because I think the part that everybody has good points, but I think everybody wants to see the back and forth. So if we do another one next week, it'll probably be 2 and 3 people, and I'll moderate that.
The way to go.
Yeah, it's a little bit too much. I think I tried to. What is it, like eat the whole meal early, like instead of little by little. And
I liked it. I mean, we're all inventing the form as we go along here. No one knew what StreamYard was 12 months ago. It was cool. I had a good time. I wasn't saying I didn't like. I actually did like. I thought it was interesting.
No, but watching it
I was
back
just tired as
myself.
hell. Yeah.
Watching it back myself, I'm just like, yeah, you know what? This is too many people. So that's it. Jamie Newman at 3. All right, it's time to go now. Now we gotta make sure we get out of here.
Hey man, thanks a lot. Thank you everyone who watched and donated and all that stuff. I appreciate it. I'll be back later on this afternoon with the roundtable. See you guys.